Hi, this is Brandon Ford.
And good day, this is Tony the Tiger, the Thunder from Down Under.
And welcome to the Blind Rage podcast.
Happy to be here again with you.
Oh, I'm glad to have you, as always. And I'm glad to have you for the post-Christmas episode. And it's all behind us now, thankfully.
Yes.
But now we have to deal with New Year's Eve and day, which are my least favorite holiday out of all of them. But just because Christmas is over doesn't mean we can't do one final Christmas themed horror film for the year. So we are doing the original 2007 French film Inside, which is part of the new French Extremity subgenre of French horror films and horror films in general, and is considered to be one of the best examples of the genre. And I think that this movie helped fuel all of the inspiration for the many Lifetime movies with similar plots that weren't executed anywhere near as well.
You stole my thunder because I was going to mention that mid-movie that it could very much have been a Hallmark movie plot.
Well, it is. It pretty much is generally. But I think the Lifetime ones, Hallmark wouldn't touch anything like this. No, Hallmark is too wholesome. Hallmark is supposed to be for the whole family. No, for Lifetime, they would probably not. I've never sat and watched one from beginning to end, but what they would do if they were to take it is to do the general premise, but wrap it around a hand that rocks the cradle.
Well, I was thinking there was that Gwyneth Paltrow movie Hush with Jessica Lange. Something along that line.
Yeah, I do. I remember that one. And I remember the ads for it. There was a very nice shot of Jonathan Sheck without a shirt on. Yeah. And it's not the same shot that's in the movie, but it's also but what's in the movie is nice.
Double your pleasure.
Yes, yeah. There's a lot of, speaking of Hush, though, quickly, there's a lot of stuff that's in the trailer that's not in the movie.
I hate those type of movies.
Yeah. Well, I think that because it was supposed to be a Hand That Rocks the Cradle style thriller, the audience would probably have anticipated violent denouement.
Yes.
And there is not. And so there's a scene there's a moment in the trailer where Gwyneth is holding a piece of mirror, a pointed shard of mirror, as if in defense, and she's like all screaming and frantic, and that's not in the movie. But,
lovely.
Anyway, getting back to...
Although that's in this movie, but... We'll get to that bridge when we cross it.
We will. And, so... Oh, I forgot the plugs. Oh, I never did that before. So, before we get into the usual things that we do here on the Oh So Professional Blind Rage podcast, I would like to encourage everyone to please go to Amazon.com or the Amazon app on your smartphone and type in Brandon Ford to check out my books in both paperback and Kindle editions. You'll also find my author page, which you can follow to get email notifications whenever I have a new release. If you enjoy audiobooks, I have a number of titles on audible.com as well as the Audible app. Just type in Brandon Ford and they will come up. If you don't already, please follow me on Instagram at writer Brandon Ford, on Twitter and Letterboxd at Brandon Ford. And you can follow Tony on Letterboxd at Tony_the_bear. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, critiques, suggestions, recommendations, please feel free to email me directly at blindragepod81@gmail.com. Last but most importantly, please do not forget to rate, review, and subscribe. So, before we get into the movie, I would like to ask, have you seen anything of note recently? Or revisited anything?
Mainly revisited. For no reason in particular, I rewatched The Exorcist and enjoyed it again.
I don't think you need a reason to watch The Exorcist.
Yeah. I was surprised that I just looking at it on IMDb that part of it was filmed in Iraq. So I realized that back then Iran was accessible, but I didn't realize Iraq was as well. So I had a friend who recently traveled to, like a few years ago, she traveled through Iran, and the pictures she put up were beautiful. It's a lovely country, but very troubled. And the other thing that I watched was, it's a mini-series from a few years, from 2020, called Chernobyl, which I really enjoyed back then, and I enjoyed watching it again.
Did you see that terrible movie with Jesse McCartney called The Chernobyl Diaries?
I've seen it advertised, but I never watched it. It didn't look like something that I would enjoy. So.
Oh yeah, I'm not sure if I actually saw it or if I'm just going by on what the reviews were, but I remember the reviews were scathing and it bombed terribly, and it was pretty much forgotten days after its release. So
that's probably through like lobotomy, people chose to forget it.
Although Jesse McCartney is very cute.
Yes, I never actually. He was in Desperate Housewives, wasn't he?
Oh, I have no idea.
If that is the guy, then I think I did watch John Tucker Must Die, and that was fluff, which was fine. You know, there are some movies you go into expecting a low quality.
Well, he's a like a Justin Bieber type pop singer primarily, although not anywhere near as obnoxious.
Then maybe I'm misthinking of who I'm thinking of. Anyway.
Well, you should look up pictures of him because he is quite hairy, and I know you like that. But so yeah, there's
I like
pictures
anything.
Yeah, me too. I'm down with whatever. I don't know, but I think I like him with he's got a really hairy chest.
Yeah.
But there's also pictures of him waxed, and
yes.
I don't know. I think I like the hair better.
Yeah. Well, at least when you're running your fingers through hair, you can discover the muscles underneath.
That's true. And plus, he's only 5'7".
Oh, okay.
So we like that. We like
bucket
short
rockets.
guys. Well, I'm short, so you know, if I meet somebody who's short, which I rarely, if ever, do. Bonus.
Yeah. But you're the same height when you're in bed, so
I would like to be standing up and kissing somebody and not having to have me lift my chin and having to have them look down.
Wear high heels. Your calves will look beautiful for it.
They will. But I'm not that kind of gay. So as far as movies, for me, I saw one very, very underwhelming movie and one very interesting documentary. Mm-hmm. The movie was Haunting in Connecticut 2, which was, oh boy, worse than the first one, and that says a lot. but it had, and we were speaking of House of Wax yesterday.
Yes, we were.
And it had, what's his name? Chad Michael Murray in it, who I completely forgot about.
Yeah.
But because he like pretty much dropped off the face of the earth after House of Wax. But yeah, he played the husband in it.
Okay.
But I didn't get to see him, you know, bare chested or anything like that.
Actually,
so that might have.
Just to interrupt you, did you ever watch Chernobyl, the show?
No.
There was. I actually was thinking of you at one thing because there's a group of miners and they're not allowed to have fans or ventilation, so they all mine in the nude. so thinking,
you're going to tell me
Brandon
about
would have loved this.
You're going to tell me about more full frontal that I can't see? Is that what you're trying to say?
Just taunting.
Mm-hmm. Well, you are an evil little Croatian man.
It's like cackle.
Haunting in Connecticut too is awful, and
it's a must-miss.
It's a must-miss. And I was happy because when I looked it up on Wikipedia to see the reception, it was overwhelmingly negative.
Yeah,
by all the critics. And a lot of the time when it comes to movies that I really, really don't like, I check to see what the consensus is because I want to see if other people have similar feelings. And a lot of the time, the reception is pretty positive.
Yeah.
So I always find myself wondering, well, what the fuck did I miss? Because this was awful. But yeah, I'm glad to see that I wasn't the only one who really did not like Haunting in Connecticut too. And I also watched a documentary called 15 Minutes of Shame.
Oh, okay. I've heard of that. Is it? It's a good one.
It was good, but yeah, it was good, but it was also very frustrating because of the mob mentality that people have on the internet and how they go after people. And I think Monica Lewinsky was part of it, and it was directed by Max Joseph of Catfish.
Oh, okay.
The TV show, not the movie. But yeah, Monica Lewinsky, because she was like one of the first to feel the wrath of public humiliation. And in the internet age.
Yeah.
So, but while a lot of the stories were troubling because it mainly dealt with people who were unjustly not
criticized.
Well, I was going to go for a better, more 50 Cent word. But people who were scrutinized unjustly, they also dealt with the guy who I completely forgot about this, but it was at the height. Well, not at the height. It was at the very beginning of the pandemic when people were dying of COVID.
COVID-19, yeah.
Yes, thank you. And this fucking jackass bought over 17,000 bottles of hand sanitizer and was selling them on Amazon for
inflated prices. Yeah.
Yeah. And he tried to, because there was an article that was written about him, and he tried to throw the writers of the article under the bus and act like they twisted things around. And whether they did or whether they didn't, he was still selling hand sanitizer at a ridiculous fee or price. Yeah. And he was capitalizing on a pandemic and the death of people who were dying in the hundreds at that point, but would ultimately be dying in the thousands and then the hundreds of thousands. And he did go to all of these stores and sweep the shelves and then sold the hand sanitizer for inflated prices. So whether he was painted in a positive or negative light in this documentary or this article, he still did it.
Yeah, exactly.
So you can't cry foul because you're guilty, and
Yeah.
you were trying to take advantage of something that was and still is awful. And they tried to make him a sympathetic character, or person, but I wasn't
No.
buying it. The
I mean, he's the symbol of pure capitalism, and that's
Yeah,
an unsympathetic thing.
It's essentially the same as that. Remember a couple years ago that fucking pharmaceutical asshole that like raised the price of one of the AIDS drugs to
Yeah.
a ridiculous amount. It's on the same level. But the one person while there were others I did feel sorry for, the one person I did feel sorry I felt sorriest for was a girl who went to university. She's a black girl, and she managed to become class president. And the next day, there were a lot of symbols of hate around campus, including bananas hanging by nooses from trees with some KKK type symbols printed on them. In addition to that, she was harassed online a lot, and to the point where she was afraid to go out of her house. And it turned out that it was orchestrated by some fuckhead who is president of the biggest white supremacist website in the world, and he was encouraging people to go after this girl.
Yeah.
Just because she was black and was president of a university. And so she lawyered up, and while she couldn't sue him, she sued one of the people who he convinced to harass her, and I think somebody else too, but one of them didn't show up to court or something. But she won, and I don't think she got any financial gain out of it, but I don't think that's really what she was looking for. I think she just wanted her story to be told and for there to be some kind of justice for
on the record.
I think ultimately she got what she wanted, which was good, and I was glad for her. But I mean, an asshole who inflates prices for hand sanitizer, all right, you're asking for it. But for a girl who is just trying to do something positive to help her school, to make positive changes, and you're going after her just because of the color of her skin, it's abominable. And
well, they're not even the same parallel. They're completely different.
They're not. No, they're not. But they were both victims of online bullying.
Yeah.
So that's where the parallels meet.
Yeah.
And the fact that something like a white supremacy website is online really boggles the mind. But I guess, freedom of speech, whatever.
Well, the internet is unlimited, so you can really hide anywhere on there, like hide in plain sight.
Well, this guy is in hiding. People know who he is. They have his name.
I know, like back in the day before the internet, to get like conspiracy theories, you'd have to pick up Xerox magazines of like that were found under the bus seats. Like whereas now you can go onto a website and find it.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's a lot more accessible. Hate is a lot more accessible.
Merry
which
Christmas.
Is sad. Yeah. Well,
I went to Costco this week, so I know all about hate.
Oh, God. Retail. Yeah.
Shall we get this movie up and going?
I think we should. If you want to watch along, we're going to begin with a 3 count. And you have your movie ready to go?
I do.
All right, here we go. So we are going to begin in 3, 2, 1, play. So this was a movie that I wanted to do on the podcast for a long time, but I only have a version that is not subtitled, and which would not help Tony very much because he doesn't understand French anywhere near as much as I do because I'm so sophisticated. Yeah, so I finally managed to track one down, and Tony just saw it for the first time on Monday.
And just so you know, this is the baby from the Massive Attack video clip.
I did not know that. Which Massive Attack song are we talking about?
Teardrops on the Fire.
So this stock footage? Is that what you're telling me?
Of the baby in the It was an interesting way to start it, though. I very much thought that.
Well, there are some echoes of the Babadook.
Yeah.
And of The Descent.
Yes.
Well, in the Babadook, the husband died while they were on their way to the hospital when she was in labor. Here, she's I think she's 4 or 5 months pregnant.
Yeah.
When he dies. So, were you surprised by the amount of gore and violence in this movie?
No, well, I had seen a few French extreme horrors, so I was expecting that level, which is probably why I held back from watching it. Sometimes not that I have to be in the mood for gore, but I have to not be in the mood for not gore.
Right. Well, I think that this one received so many positive reviews because critics were able to look past the gore and see it as a really well-made film. Because generally, if it's something that's excessively gory or violent, it's automatically going to get a bad review. But it was immediately recognized as being an exceptionally well done film by people who were not seasoned writer directors.
Yes.
So there's that.
Well, I think like older horror, the gore comes after a setup. It's not immediate.
Yeah, but when it does,
I mean, not to defend it, but I don't think that the gore is enjoyable. Like, no one's having a good time inflicting the pain. And I say this in comparison to like Hostel, where you have a villain who is doing these things to cause as much pain on people.
Mm-hmm. And well, when you're comparing it to a movie like Hostel, you have a victim here who you actually feel sorry for.
The victim or the villain?
The victim.
Yes. Yeah, compared to Hostel.
I don't know. I don't know about you, but I couldn't give a shit. The only person I cared about in Hostel was Ghana.
Yeah, yeah.
But the guys, they couldn't have died faster. Yeah, and the gore does take a little while to get going, but when it does, it's unrelenting.
Yeah.
And there are moments that are incredibly, incredibly tense.
Well, and it reminded me of something that I always remember about Last House on the Left that Wes Craven commented on, is that oftentimes, like, something that happens in horror before then was people would get stabbed and die. Whereas in this one, people are getting injured very badly but still not dying. And so that can make it even more upsetting to watch, like later on with the policeman.
Well, that's generally the way it is. That's generally the way it is in horror movies. Is, you know, people get injured very violently, but they die right away. When that's not how it happens realistically. You know, unless you're doing something like shooting somebody in the fucking head. In real life, you know, if people are injured in similar fashion, no, you're not going to die right away. You're going to suffer. And this suffering, I think, is more. It makes it more effective.
Yeah. Well, I mean, coming as an audience member, you might subconsciously feel that the dying is the relief. But if they keep living, then there's no relief, or it's being drawn out for further.
Yeah. I'm trying not to translate the French in my head.
This woman, how she starts smoking in the hospital, it's like, what is with you? Although you were saying that they do smoke in France.
They do. Yes. Yeah, they smoke in hospitals. And in the movie Raw, another new French Extremity, there's have you seen that one?
No, although I did see it's available on my streaming, so I might give that a check out one day.
It's a really good movie. It's really good. But there's a moment, because it takes place at a veterinary school, and the lead character goes to see the nurse for an issue that she's having, and while the nurse is running down what can be wrong with her, she's smoking a cigarette.
Yeah.
In the nurse's office in the school. Because the French are rebellious like that.
Well, they like to protest.
Well, you definitely wouldn't see anybody smoking in a hospital in an American movie. Well, and I think that's because it's just not done.
Yeah.
You can't do it. You can't do that here. So I haven't seen the remake, but I'm sure that it's not in there. But I lost my train of thought. Smoking.
We're talking about French hospitals.
French hospitals, smoking in hospitals. Oh, another thing that I wanted to say was again about the remake. I I haven't seen it, but from what I heard, it does stay pretty true to this, to the source material. Although they do flesh out a few things.
Yeah.
But it generally does stay true to this one. But what I was going to say is what I really like about this movie and about French horror and foreign horror in general is, I was trying to hold back a burp. The ending is so bleak, and you really don't. If you see that in an American horror movie, it's not a Hollywood horror film. It's an indie, or it's it's something that was done on a very, very low budget. Because if it's a mainstream horror film, it has to end on a. What did I say? An American?
Yes.
Because I got caught up in the French again.
Although, in saying that, in regards to it, with horror movies, I'm not a fan at all of prequels. And
oh no, me neither. No, I don't like
in
them.
those situations, you can have an ending where it's depressing because you need the villain to survive or whatever to go into the original. But that's probably the reason why I don't like prequels, is because I need to believe that there's a chance for the victims. Whereas I feel that in a prequel, if someone survived, then the next movie wouldn't have gone ahead.
I gotta stop. Because not only am I trying to translate, but I'm also hypnotized a little bit because I do like I like the sound of the French language, especially when it's coming out of a man. And this is Jean-Pierre, who is her boss, isn't he?
Yeah, I believe. Something I found interesting about this movie is, and it's sort of what led me on to the Lifetime idea, is her mother. I feel looks quite young, and I couldn't tell how old the lead actress was supposed to be. And in also saying that when the villain is at her house, she pretends to be her mother, and it's like, how young? You look quite young as well. So, but it actually, I felt I thought what could have been a good remake is, instead of having to give away the ending, the woman, the villain is the woman in the other car who loses her baby. I thought it could have been her mother, because there's a real ruthlessness to grandmothers and of wanting to have the grandchild.
Well, with the way that they have it, I think it wraps everything up neatly.
Yeah.
So I like it the way it is, but
I like it as well.
I hear what you're saying.
I just liked exploring that option in my head as well.
She's tired. I heard that. Je suis fatigué. So yeah, I got remedial French down. What were you gonna say?
No, just when I watched this, I watched it a bit with a wall up. Just there was a movie, and it was a British movie, a British horror movie that I watched, and it just depressed the shit out of me. So I didn't want to just in case this happened with this movie, I thought I'll only watch it a bit. I was watching it while sort of doing things around it, like I was folding the laundry.
Oh, I'm so glad.
No, just I don't want to get too invested, so I could do a better summary of it now.
What was the British one that you watched?
It was Lake Eden or Eden Lake.
I've heard of that. I heard it's supposed to be pretty good. You didn't like it?
It's good. No, it's good, but I just the ending just drained me.
Yeah, I've heard that one mentioned a lot on podcasts, and it's something that I've been meaning to check out, and I keep forgetting.
Well, that's available on streaming here, so I'd assume you'd be able to easily get it in America.
I think it's on Tubi. I think it is.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that sad music as she leaves? Oh.
Like this Rodeo Drive.
All right, now you're gonna fuck it up, so I'm gonna stop you.
No. I'm just watching the movie. I was thinking of The Naked Husband.
Oh, I missed The Naked Husband. God damn it!
But you don't see anything above the butt line.
You mean the small of his back?
Yeah. I said what I said. See, he's making Jason's mask, like from part 2.
Oh.
She's not very good at knitting, but she has knitting needles all around the house.
Well, that's a setup later.
Yeah. Actually, I was wondering, I was reading into it and trying to find if anyone else had a similar parallel. But I was wondering if this movie had any parallels to the, I think it's called The Judgment of Solomon. If you know that story from the Bible.
I don't. I'm very un-Catholic.
Oh no, it's a fairly well-known story, but there's a woman whose baby dies, and then through the night she goes and steals another woman's baby, and this other woman takes her to the king, to say she's stolen my baby, and the king decides, okay, well what we'll do is we'll cut the baby in half.
Oh,
and then you can both have half. And the real mother says, no, I don't want that to happen. She can have the baby. I'd rather she had it than I had it. And the king goes, okay, so you must be the real mother, because the real mother wouldn't want that to happen. And so he gives the baby to the real mother.
They did that exact thing on Seinfeld.
Yes.
With the bike.
Yeah. But I'm sure the Bible story came first.
Of course. It's... Mm-hmm.
But I was in trying to see parallels of that in this movie, and there was one scene where it sort of happened, but in saying that, it was the bad mother who reacted by not wanting the baby to get hurt. So.
Mon mari dort.
Mm-hmm.
Non, vraiment désolée. Allez voir ailleurs, des voisins doivent être encore en train de réveillonner.
This was giving me a real when a stranger calls back vibes.
Mm-hmm.
Mon mari dort.
Mon mari dort pas, Sarah.
Yeah. The original idea was that the villain was going to be a man.
Oh, in this movie.
Yeah. And that's what the original script was, and putting a woman in peril at the hands of a man had just been done so many times, and so they knew they wanted to make the villain a woman, but they had to figure out what her motive was.
Okay, what was the band's motive?
They didn't say.
Yeah.
It was probably nothing.
Yeah.
But there was a pretty famous story that happened
Sharon
Might have
Tate?
been no,
Okay.
and that they never cut the baby out of her, by the way.
No.
It amazes me that to this day people still believe that.
Oh.
But no, there was a case. It was either around this time or a couple years before. But the woman went on Oprah and all kinds of stuff. But what happened was the the woman who was the victim, her name was I think her name was Sarah Brady, and she was contacted by a woman who said her name was Sarah Brody, and she said that she had gotten all because the woman was pregnant, the Sarah Brady. So she said that she'd gotten all of these gifts in the mail, and she said, I assume that they're supposed to go to you because I'm not pregnant, and I don't remember how she said she got her information or something. I don't know, but so she said, if you want to come and pick them up, here's just where I live, blah, blah, blah. And Sarah Brady was struggling, and I don't really think that she and her husband could afford a lot of things for the baby. So, of course, she was, only too happy to get some free stuff. And when she got there, the woman attacked her, and she I don't remember the whole story, but she fought back and stabbed the woman in the carotid artery, and she got away.
Yeah.
And so by the time the police got there, the woman bled out.
Yeah.
And but they found all of these instruments that the woman had packed away, and she was going to cut the baby out of her. That's what she was planning.
Yeah.
And her name really wasn't Sarah Brody. It was something else. And it turned out that she had faked pregnancies several times over the years. Miscarriages she'd faked. I think she couldn't have a baby or something like that. But after that, because this was the first time I'd ever heard anything like that. And I was like, oh my God, this would make a...
I feel like I've heard that story, yeah.
But yeah, I was like, oh my God, this would make a really good fucking book. So I was like taking notes and shit, not knowing that this was going to be the subject of like 95% of the Lifetime movies that would be coming out in the 15 years to follow. So yeah, I never did write it, but yeah, that girl, she told her story on a show called I Survived, which was I was so into that show. Oh my God, it was so
I wonder,
fucking good.
If all of those, like how you're saying, 95 movies come out, if they could all say based on a true story, just because it's sort of based on that story,
inspired. I think would be the word. Well, if Uncle Peckerhead can say based on a true story, I don't see why not.
I know it would ruin the whole movie, but I would not stay there the rest of the night in the house.
No. She should have just went to stay with her mother.
Yes. Although, when the villain, La Femme, I think was her name, when she lights up the cigarette, she's got really nice bone features.
Okay.
I like it. She's got the severe look.
I only saw this, visually once, and that was not without some issues. But from what I remember, the woman who played the villain was really creepy looking.
Yeah, she is. But I don't think that she's ugly.
I remember her being not attractive.
Yeah. Maybe it's my... It could be my Croatian side coming out. And the house number is 666.
1666.
Oh, well, the one is covered by vines.
Le 27 novembre et la mort accidentelle de deux jeunes Français issus de l'immigration. Les émeutes nocturnes se sont répandues dans les quartiers pauvres des banlieues de Paris et de plusieurs grandes villes de province. Un passager de bus dans une cité
Oh, French is such a beautiful language. I need a Frenchman in my life.
What would be a French dating app? Guanda?
Don't do that.
Sound like the Pink Panther.
Oh, you know what's funny? I used to... Whenever I used to... This is funny. Whenever I used to say, if people would ask me what kind of music I liked or what kind of movies I liked, or like horror movies, or I would say, I gravitate more towards French music, or I like a lot of French horror movies. And invariably, there would be somebody who would go, ooh la la. And I was, French people don't say that. But apparently they do. And yeah, this was in one of my my French lessons. One of my many French lessons, but they do say it. I don't think they say it anywhere near as much as people think they say it. But
maybe you can't hear it properly with their tongue up your ass.
That's true. But there in the David Sedaris book that I read that I was quoting all the jokes from, he lived in France for a while. He lived in Normandy, and he has traveled all over the place. And there, when he was in different countries, he started noticing that people do say certain things that are generally associated with those countries that are kind of racially insensitive. Like when people are trying to do a Chinese impression, they'll do the asshole. But apparently Chinese, they do say that. And he he asked somebody from a different country, because when this started to become a pattern, and he started to meet people from all these different countries, and notice they do say these things. He asked somebody from which country, I don't remember, but he said, he told him of his observation, and he said, what do people think Americans say? And the guy thought for a minute, and then he went, oh my God. And I was like, yeah.
I feel sane.
That's it.
Although, I remember when I traveled, I went to Hong Kong, and we had a tour guide for a boat trip. And she was saying, and she was like a local, and she was saying, get over your want to speak the Queen's English to people. You will need to speak quite racistly to be understood.
Oh.
Is that like I felt terrible. But as soon as I started like talking that way, people would understand, oh, you want exactly what I wanted from the shops. Whereas I don't even want to give an example because I would feel terrible just doing it now, but
Let's think like I heard something recently where the Irish purposely butcher the Queen's English because they don't want to sound British.
well,
So
I think it's
like
quite
they try to-
offensive to suggest an Irishman is British.
Yeah. Well, the same thing with suggesting a Kiwi might be an Aussie, or vice versa.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Well, I'm taking that from
Like we don't because we didn't
Death
have a
Proof.
war.
Well,
It would be more like saying Serbian is Croatian or something.
Oh, you take offense to that?
I don't, but I know a few people do.
Well, according to a Serbian film, the Serbians have huge penises, so the Croatians should take it as a compliment.
Yeah, but we have a coastline. Just kidding.
Speaking of a Serbian film, you know, I have never seen it. Well, I had never heard of it until my vision starts to get really bad. So, and you know, I can't read subtitles and I don't understand Serbian, and there's no English dub of it, so I couldn't watch it even if I wanted to. But you know, I do know all about the ex-porn star with the huge penis and everything. But supposedly, have you seen it?
No, and I have no intent.
Well, supposedly they had just sold some props from the movie at an auction or something like that, and one of them was a mold of the penis, so it wasn't real. It was like a Boogie Nights type thing. I thought it was supposed to be. I thought it was real. I didn't get it.
I don't know. I know there was a scene with the baby, so maybe they used it then.
Maybe that could have been what it was, because they didn't say exactly what the mold was. So that's true. It could have been the baby. And maybe the Serbian actor really did have a huge penis. I'd like to think so. Speaking of people people who come from countries who have large penises, and the French, you know, as I've said before, you know, I do find the French language to be stimulating, and the French men are very attractive. So, and therefore, I do indulge in the French porn, and there is a large Arab population in France, and as I've come to find, Arab men are quite endowed.
Yes.
And I have enjoyed some of the clips that I've seen. Although it's kind of creepy, because I think, I don't know. I think I don't know who they could get in trouble by, but I think they could get in trouble for doing gay porn because the men wore ski masks.
Oh, yeah.
Which kind of took me out of the moment.
Yeah, it's kind of... I'm not a fan of ski masks in porn.
No.
Reminds me of those execution videos. So,
Yeah, well, that and it's a little rapey.
yeah.
But so, and I think because of that, they don't, in those that I've seen, they don't really focus that much on their heads. So generally, it's an Arab with a Frenchman, and the Frenchman is usually the bottom, so they focus more on him.
Yeah, I wonder if that's because I think politically there is some issues in France with the Arab immigrants.
There are, yes. Yeah.
Which I don't know if they're like reading into porn, if that's their commentary on.
I don't know. I don't know what the correlation is, but there must be something. Moving right along. I heard very well. What?
Partez pas si vite, vous voulez pas rester boire un verre?
I don't know why she keeps him there for a drink, though.
S'il vous plaît.
Jean-Pierre.
Yeah.
Does she drink with him?
I'm not sure.
I'm hoping not. Because I know if the French are rebels and everything, but you shouldn't be drinking when you're 9 months pregnant.
No, this is the villain.
Yeah, I think she was trying to put on airs that everything was okay.
Yeah. I know, because he was about to leave. And then she said, oh no, stay, I've been wanting to meet you.
Right, that's right. Well, she's quite manipulative, so I think she was trying to, like I said, she was trying to do everything she could to make sure that everything is normal. And if she'd hustled him out the door, it would have looked sus.
Although I feel that her face wound would be bleeding a lot more. just
Oh, for
because I know head wounds are notorious.
Well, it's a part. It's if you hit a part of
Yes.
of the head, yeah. It's usually the back.
Oh, God, those teeth! You can run coins through that gap.
That's what I remember about her, and that's why I was thinking that she was not very
No, but you would
attractive.
have supermodels who that's their signature, you know. Like I think Cara Delevingne might have one.
Mm.
Décemment.
Now, what about him? Is he attractive?
I don't think you'd find him attractive at all.
Okay. Well, he sounds like he might be up there in age.
Yeah.
Oui, ma fille.
Yeah, I can't think who would play him in an American.
In the American
Capacity.
remake.
Although I don't know. Again, if the mother had simply said "Sarah," like before opening the door.
Mm. Mm. I know, Sava. Are you okay? I know that. Sava is that's casual too.
Oh, I thought he was saying the name Sarah.
I thought he said Sava.
Oh, okay.
Well, didn't he just say, "Are you okay"? Or is everything okay?
No, I didn't notice it. I mean,
You didn't read the subtitle? Yeah, because generally with the French, when you if you're meeting somebody, you well, you don't do the bonjour. You just say ça va. Like
yeah.
it's basically how's it going.
Yeah. Like howdy, which is how do you do?
Yeah, I think I know howdy. Yeah, I think I know that.
No, but howdy is apparently short for how do you do.
I don't know about that. Speaking of which, Tim was saying that he wants to move to America in the next 3 years, and that he wants to move to Texas.
Okay.
Well, I'll have to have James give him the grand tour.
Yes, I'm sure. Texas seems lovely.
Mm-hmm. I've actually known a number of people from
pregnancy.
Texas.
Just kidding.
Yeah. Yeah, I know a lot of people from Texas, actually.
Okay.
Well, some people who move there, and some people who are native Texans.
Yeah.
I'm not, well, I don't want to be a traitor to my people, but I haven't really been all that happy with Philadelphia as of late. And while I would like to relocate, it's not very easy when you're disabled. But I've had Floridian aspirations for a very long time.
Okay.
I don't know how realistic those aspirations are going to be, but I would like to live in Florida or Arizona.
Okay, so the heat either way.
Yes, I want to live someplace warm.
What about like San Diego?
I don't want to live in California.
Okay.
Nothing against Californians, but
You're from California.
All right, don't do that. No.
You're just from Philadelphia.
Are you happy with yourself, Grandpa?
Going.
No.
Hello from sunny Philadelphia.
Well, okay, no. We just say Philly. And the Californians say Cali. You know what? I think it was because Pennsylvania was something that I learned to spell early on in school. But have you ever read Marley and Me? Or
No.
have you seen the movie?
No. About the dog?
Yeah.
No.
Oh God, the book is so sad. I generally don't cry with books. I mean, it really has to be like gut wrenching for me to cry. But that book made me fucking bawl. It was so sad. But anyway, I don't remember where the main characters. Well, it was a true story. It was a memoir, but I don't remember where they were originally from. But they had a son, and they had to relocate to Pennsylvania, and the son thought it was called Pennsylvania because that's where pencils originally?
Ah.
And he was like, well, where are all the pencils made, or something like that. And
Yeah.
I never associated Pennsylvania with pencils, because I think like I said, I knew how Pennsylvania was spelled at a young age.
Yeah.
So yeah, because I'm smart. No, I mean, I always did really well in
Spelling bees?
English.
Oh.
I don't think I ever. No, I never did a spelling bee, but spelling tests, I don't think I ever got under a 90. I always did very well in spelling.
Okay.
But this is like a brag, because I'm smart like that. No, but I remember, I still to this day remember this story. My first grade teacher was a bit of a cunt. And her name was Miss Silk. And she was a woman who, I remember she was like in her mid 40s, and she tried to dress like she was in her 20s. And she was nasty. And one day if I had said to my mother,
Je voudrais baiser une folle comme toi.
I don't feel well, she would just be like, oh, you're fine, go to school. It wasn't like, oh, let me take your temperature and see how you're doing. No, you're fine, go to school. So a lot of the time what would happen is I would go to school sick, and then I would tell my teacher, I really don't feel well. And they would take my temperature, and they would say, oh, lo and behold, I had a fever. So she would have to come and get me.
Yeah.
But it was one of those days where I really didn't feel well, and I felt like I was coming down with something. So I kind of had my arms folded across the desk, and I had my chin on my arms. And I don't remember, but I guess we were learning how to spell words with multiple syllables. I don't know. I have no idea. But we were learning how to spell the word temperature.
Yeah.
And she wrote it on the board, and like everybody was like, she was calling on people. And because I had my head down, she was under the assumption that I wasn't paying attention, but I was. And I remember it was on the board, and I remember she erased it. And she said, all right, can you spell it? And I spelled it correctly. And like, I could see it in her face, like she was pissed because she wanted to chide me in front of everybody. But yeah, I knew my shit, so she could fuck off.
You put the temper back in temperature.
Yeah, and speaking of which, I think that mine was the last class that she taught, because after she moved to California.
Oh, okay. No wonder you have negative repercussions of California.
That's true. Yes, that's where it all boils down to. Yes, I have PTSD.
but in advance.
Yeah.
Pre-traumatic.
Yes, just like never mind.
Like prep.
No, I was going for something a little sexier.
Well, prep is used in sex.
But it's not sexy.
Oh. Sexual awareness is very sexy.
I was going for pre-ejaculate.
Oh, okay.
And I can't believe I had to spell it out for you, because your mind immediately went to prep. What kind of fucked up...
You prep in America, don't you? I'm quite sure you will.
We do. Yes, we do. Yeah, but I don't...
It's only good for one STD, by the way.
Yeah, that's... yeah. I'm not on it, nor do I know anybody who is, so... yeah, no, I don't. I don't. All right. Anyway, so she's trying to get out of the house. You got me all distracted. No.
Oh no, the police are coming in.
Yeah, because they realized that the woman that they spoke to was not pregnant, so therefore she was not the woman involved. Because interesting that you mentioned Wes Craven and Last House on the Left, because like they had the stupid cops.
Oh yeah, and the chicken.
N'hésitez pas à nous téléphoner si elle revient, d'accord?
D'accord. That's the French. Okay.
On profite des heures creuses, c'est ça?
Well, the cops are quite
Bonne
cute.
nuit, joyeux Noël.
Well,
God damn it.
some of them.
Well, a man in uniform. And
Even the prisoner is quite cute.
I am definitely partial to the policeman uniform that has the black shirt and the pocket with the it's like gray. It's got the gray flap.
Oh, yep.
Very, very nice. Oh yeah. Oh yes. Yes, we like that. And what are they wearing? Or are they, what are they, is
They're
it like
almost in casuals.
Oh, well, that's not sexy. But I was going to say, if there's...
whenever I see undercover cops, they're quite attractive men. Well, the ones that I've seen here, you can tell, like, because you can tell their car, and they've got like an earpiece.
Well, they're not very good at playing undercover, then, are they?
Oh no, I've got an eye for it.
Oh, I'm sure you do.
Vous avez oublié quelque chose?
Juste un petit détail.
Actually, a friend of mine is a policeman from Germany.
Oh.
He's got a very strong German accent.
Oh, sexy. Yes, tell me more.
No, it's not even that funny. It's not even a funny story, but I've told you about my innocent nephew. I played a song for him where it was just a German guy talking about the development of the synthesizer, and I told him, "Oh, this is Daniel speaking." And the next time he saw him, he asked him about it, and I was like, oh, "You poor thing."
Ooh.
So there's a few of these pregnancy symbols, and even I was thinking her arm through the whole, like a lot more barnyard, but that I even saw that as a bit symbolic of pregnancy.
Oh.
And all the knitting needle deaths,
Yeah.
It's very if these walls could talk.
Oh, God. Yeah. Oh, I remember being very disturbed by the last story in the abortion clinic when Cher is killed
By Matthew Lillard.
by Matthew Lillard. Yeah, that was fucking disturbing because I did not see that coming at all.
I thought it was funny because I reckon that's the one Cher directed. And she
I
did
think
like
so, yeah.
this big crane shot of her dying at the end. I was like,
Oh, God. Well, Cher is a bit of a narcissist. So.
Yeah, but that's all right. She has every right to be.
This is true. She's Cher.
She's Cher.
Remember the? I'm sure you do, but do you remember the episodes? That episode of Will and Grace when Jack had the Cher doll that he was talking to.
Yes.
I always wondered if that was a real thing. If they really, because Cher was not in her prime at that time. So I always wondered if it was something that they did for the show.
I'm not sure having a Cher doll. No, but I imagine it might have been an old
Maybe.
collector's item.
Yeah, maybe. Because I remember the way her name was written on the box looked very like 70s.
Yeah. I liked her cameo in that.
Yeah, that was funny. And I like that she said that when she approached him, she said it's a little weird that you are talking to my doll. And he said, I don't think I need a drag queen to define normal behavior for me.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Speaking of knitting needles, I was going to make that a thing. I was going to try it because
Stop trying to make needle knitting happen. I could not get it out quick enough. But what were you trying to make it happen with?
I was trying to make knitting a hobby.
Oh, okay.
Because-
I thought you were going to have a villain that used knitting needles.
No. Because I like to do something with my hands when I'm listening to audiobooks.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that would be a good thing to do. Shut up. I started thinking about it because in my life skills course, my teacher was talking about how they do a knitting thing.
Do they do like the hand crochet or with the
Yeah,
needles?
yeah, with the needles.
Okay. No, because you can do it just with fingers.
Oh, I don't even know. I got the big needles and I got I got some black yarn. It wasn't a ball. It was like one of those,
Oblong
things.
things.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I got a book on how to knit, and I was all excited. I was like, "This is gonna be my thing. I'm gonna make sweaters, and it's gonna be so fun. And I'm gonna make knit caps." And I couldn't figure out how to set the needles
Yeah.
or how to weave them properly
Yeah.
because it was quite tricky.
It is an art to it. Like I see my mum doing it, and I have a friend who likes doing it online. But yeah, just seeing it, I'm like, how are you even creating this? It's witchcraft.
Yeah. And I couldn't even get the shit. And I immediately after that, I gave up. I was
Yeah.
like, fuck this. It's too hard. I didn't have the patience.
Now you've just got a ball of yarn.
Oh, I got rid of that shit years ago. No, I thought of it because this was some years back when my vision was a little bit better, and I gave myself a project where I got all of my old manuscripts and especially my handwritten ones, and I put them in those protective sheet
The
protective
sleeves, yep.
covers. Yeah, the sleeves, and I put them in binders, and it was a project that took a while because I had so much stuff, and I had like all my old manuscripts from when I was in high school, and I put and I tried to put them in order as best as I could because I remember when I wrote a lot of stuff. Yeah, and while I was doing that, I was listening to audiobooks, and I realized, how much I enjoyed using my hands while listening to audiobooks, and I wanted that to be a thing. And since I was finished with that particular project, I was like, I need something else to do now. and I thought about knitting, and that did not go according to plan.
Yeah.
I know that was a fascinating story.
Oh, I'm writing it down.
Mm. Did you say get the keys?
Yes. Where the fuck are the keys?
Ah! Now I feel so smart.
And he gets stabbed in the head. I thought he had a gun, just by the way. Or at least he had access to the policeman's gun. Yes.
Ugh. A cesarean via scissors. Ugh. Just the thought.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See, and this is one of the reasons why I like French horror, especially the new French Extremity, is because they are not afraid to pull out all the punches at all.
Well, when you're watching a horror movie, you want it to be a horror movie.
Well, American horror, especially mainstream horror, is so watered down.
Well, maybe with American horror, they want to enjoy it, whereas this is an unenjoyable film, but it's a horror film.
I don't know if I would call it an unenjoyable film.
Oh, I don't find joy in it.
I don't think the French make horror movies like this with the purpose of purely disturbing or unnerving people. Although I'm sure
that
some
there is, a thought process to it.
Well,
I mean, that's why I was saying I was trying to see the biblical reference and trying to see even symbolism and, throughout it.
well, I mean, not just French movies or horror movies, but there are certain movies that I think are very, very disturbing and hard to watch. But because they're so well done and well written and well acted, that I can revisit them. And I have revisited them many times. Like Requiem for a Dream comes to mind immediately. And Bug.
Yeah. I still have to watch that one. Yeah.
Yes, you do. I was actually watching another one, or revisiting another one, or one that I do that falls under this category last night, and that is Session 9.
Oh, okay. I've heard of that one, but I haven't been able to access it.
I had heard of it for a long time, but I don't know why, but to me, it just sounds like a science fiction movie. The title sounds like a science fiction movie.
Okay.
So I never bothered, and I'm always, because I lean more towards dark things. Like, so I'm always asking people, like, what, for recommendations for disturbing horror films, or what's the most disturbing book you've ever read, things like that.
Yeah.
And session 9 did come up from somebody, and I remembered that seeing it on the Audio Vault website. So I just decided I don't even think I looked to see what it was about. I just downloaded it and listened to it, and it was very disturbing. But at the same time, it was also very, very well done.
Yeah.
And very well acted. Believe it or not, since David Caruso was in it.
Yes. Well, he made Jade all himself.
See, this is why you shouldn't smoke.
Is that why you gave up?
It is, because I was afraid that somebody was going to... what did she use? Hairspray or something?
Yeah. There was a, not a kid's movie, but like, it was like a Home Alone type of movie, but a bit more adult, where some kid filled his water sprayer with fuel, and like when the guy lit up, he splashed him in the face.
What movie was this?
It was kind of like, it was something terrible, but it was kind of like a Home Alone. But so there was this family, and these like, let's say a drug cartel came in to try to steal something from the father, and the son manages to sort of knock them off one by one, and he's like 12.
What?
Kind of like Becky, but from the 90s.
Is this is this an American movie?
Yeah.
And it's a kid's movie.
No, it reminded me of like Home Alone, but more for adults. But like, it's a kid is the hero in it. I'd say it's like PG-13.
Who's in it?
It's been such a long time. I'll investigate it off camera.
Off camera.
Off recording.
Yes. Well, when you said, when you described the scene you just described, I immediately went to Cape Fear.
Oh, yeah.
When Juliette Lewis sprays him with the
lighter
lighter
fluid. But this was like because it's one of those ones that you pump up, and so he was sort of like counting the distance in his head, and
like
he had to pump it up.
spray
Like,
bottle.
yes.
I also like that scene in the Buffy movie. When she uses the crucifix on Rutger Hauer. Is this all you have for me, your puny faith? And he sets it on fire. Just, no, my keen fashion sense. And she whipped up the hairspray.
Oh,
Paul Rubens was so fucking funny in that movie.
I haven't seen it in such a long time.
I don't remember if it was a post-credits sequence or if it was like right before the credits, but when they cut to him still like groaning over the getting staked, and he's like, ow, 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 ow. But my favorite is when he kicks the wall and he goes, ow, 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 ow.
Oh, God. And who was the lead? Who played Buffy? Kelly
Christy Swanson.
LeBrock? Oh, that's, yes.
Kelly LeBrock.
I knew it was a K name.
Yeah, Christy Swanson and Fucking
Was she in? She was in Flowers in the Attic, wasn't she?
Flowers in the Attic.
Yes.
Yeah. Christy and Deadly Friend. And
Oh, that's right.
Hilary Swank was also in Buffy.
And Luke Perry?
Luke Perry. And David Arquette. And Ricky Lake for about 30 seconds.
Ah. So,
Alexis Arquette was in that too.
oh, okay. Just a few poor choices here.
Monsieur?
Oh!
It's gone a bit cray-cray.
I hate when I react to something and then when I listen back to the commentary, it's not synced right.
They've got nasal spray technology for that now.
What in the fuck? Sometimes I just don't know with you. Oh.
See, with how long everyone else survives, I felt that her mother died quite quickly. She just got a stab in the neck.
Well, a stab in the neck. Well,
You've done your research.
that's you know, that's hard to come back from.
Well, now I'm thinking of those people who smoke through the neck.
Ugh. I was looking at the trivia for this on Wikipedia, and they were talking about the tracheotomy, and they were actually giving, you know, like a definition of what a tracheotomy is and what it's used for. It's like, what, why?
Yeah. I saw that as well on IMDb. Apparently, a friend of mine told me that apparently it's illegal to do, like even in emergencies. But I never read into it.
Yeah, I remember. I remember there was a case in I think the 90s where I think this guy was choking in a restaurant, and there was a doctor who happened to be there, and he performed a tracheotomy on him, and he saved his life. And the guy ended up suing him.
Oh. No good deed goes unpunished.
Exactly. Are we getting C-sectioned right now?
Yeah, just about.
Yeah, because I hear the scissors. Oh, God.
Did you ever watch Antichrist?
Yes, we talked about this.
Oh, okay. Oh, no, well, I just wasn't sure if you just watched the scene with Willem Dafoe's penetration, but...
No, I actually listened to the whole thing with audio descriptions, and I had no idea what the fuck was going on.
I had it, but never really watched it.
Yeah, because it's not good.
Oh, no, like, I didn't mind... actually, I saw tiny bits of it. And visually, I thought it was a lovely film.
So you just watched the Willem Dafoe penis scene.
Well, it's at the very beginning.
See, you were projecting just right there.
And then,
So
yes, you're rubber and I'm glue. And then the bit where she cuts off her clitoris.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Or she cuts. She performs the female circumcision.
Right.
I reckon.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, because the clitoris doesn't really exist.
No, it does not. The clitoris or clitoris does not
As the
exist.
Americans would say.
Well, some Americans say clitoris. I think clitoris sounds too flat. I like
think clitoris
There's a little-
sounds far too like
it's got a little bit of flair.
accidental.
I like it.
No. It's too much like Doris.
Yes, I know. That's why the Seinfeld episode. But it's been a thing now. I don't know if it's reached Australia, but people have been trying to change the pronunciation of the planet Uranus.
To Uranus.
Uranus. Yeah, and I just heard it on Jeopardy last night, and I was like, "Get the fuck out of here!" I refuse. Because first of all, it's worse because it's got urine in it now.
Got it.
And I much prefer an anus. Thank you.
Yeah, that was in a movie I wrote many years ago. I had a dildo was part of it, and I named the dildo.
Of course you did.
I named the character Rex Uranus.
I thought you were going to say you named it Steely Dan.
Yes.
That baby should be crying a little more.
Well,
way too comfortable with that
if it's
psycho.
alive.
Way too comfortable with that psycho bitch.
Party.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is bleak.
But going with the Christmas theme, it's about someone unwrapping their present too early.
This is true. Well, no. Well, it was Christmas Eve, and I think it was past midnight. So.
Oh yeah.
She probably got her present right at midnight. That would have been good. If like right when she took the baby out, you heard the clock strike midnight or something. That would have been good. A good little touch.
And they could have had like frankincense in the bathroom. No.
A little bit of myrrh.
Murgo.
Yes.
Playing in the background. Yeah. Had a lot of chefs.
Well, do you know what chef means in French?
Oh, not chief.
No.
Yeah, chief electrician. Oh, okay.
Well, chef in French, chef means boss.
Yeah.
Don't say yeah like you knew.
Oh no. Well, I gathered. Assistant monteur. I've had to sit so awkwardly and move my legs because I'm not in my usual position, my usual seat.
I would think that you would be used to being in compromising positions.
Well, if you have a good dom, then it doesn't matter.
It's true.
No, but because I was cross-legged, my legs were falling asleep.
I know, you're used to having them wide open.
Yes, in stirrups.
In stirrups.
Again, going with the theme of the movie.
Everything comes full circle. Yes. It's movies. I mean, it's music.
Having someone rearrange your guts.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That person that I was telling you about earlier, the porn star. He's that he did a scene where it was I guess he was a little too zealous, and he dented the woman's IUD.
Okay.
And it was, I guess, so unusual that they had to take it to a lab to to be examined because they're like, well, what could have caused this? Because she was probably like, I was just getting fucked too hard. And they were like, I don't know. This is a little crazy. But speaking of which, I know that, porn stars tend to come up a lot.
Well, they're paid to.
Of course, yes. Well, no, but we have spoken about James Dean a few times, and I was just curious about what ever happened to him because of his sexual assault allegations, and he said on his website because he was on some I don't know, one of those porn committees. I don't know what they have. But he had to step down. He was like an ambassador.
Oh, okay.
He was an ambassador for something, and he had to step down. And then in 2018, he announced that he was going on an indefinite hiatus. So, and I was trying to find if he ever returned, and I couldn't find anything. But
does he have a Twitter account?
I probably. But I did a Google search for James Dean return to porn, and I found this article about a movie called I don't remember, but it's about I believe it's about a male porn star who leaves the industry for some reason and has to move back home to his hometown and live with his family. With his parents. So I'm wondering if that's what happened to him, and that's what the movie is based on. I don't know.
Well, one to look out for.
Well, I know that I did say some things that I probably shouldn't have said about Ron Jeremy, and I did say that I don't know if I said the same thing about him, but I did. Well, I found it a little hard to believe with him because one of his accusers was what the fuck is her name? She was one of the teen moms.
Oh, okay. The one that did anal?
The one who did the movie with him.
Yeah.
Farrah Abraham. Yeah.
Yes.
She was one of his accusers, and Farrah Abraham is somebody who will do just about anything to stay relevant or get a job because she has no talent whatsoever. And so, yeah, when I heard that, I was like, I don't know.
Well, in hopes of not having to write another apology,
I
we'll
didn't say.
There.
Yeah, but I didn't say either way. Since then there have been some more accusers, and there seems to be some validity to the whole thing because I don't think he would have stepped down had he not been guilty. So James Dean, shame on you.
Yes.
And with that said, do you have any final thoughts on Inside?
No, but have a happy new year.
That's it?
Yeah, that's all I have. I didn't, it's not an enjoyable movie for me, but I was happy to do the podcast with you and delve into the symbolism and the meaning of it all.
You didn't like it?
No, I like it. No, I do like it. but it's just it's not like
a bit much.
It's not a popcorn movie.
No. All right.
It didn't depress me. Like, you know, I'm not going to go slit my wrists or anything. But
You just found it a little too heavy.
Actually, but in saying that, I find that with the French movies that I watch, they do tread a very fine line of they're watchable. Like I don't get turned off by them.
Well, you owned Irreversible.
Yes.
So what does that say about your crazy ass?
Actually, my ex.
I know the
first
story.
bit. No, what?
He stole Irreversible.
Oh yeah, well, there's that story. But he could not stomach the
Assault.
extinguisher to the face.
Oh, that one. Yeah, well, I hear that brought up more than the assault.
Yeah, but also with him, he had just had his whole upper teeth removed, so he was still a bit wounded from that. He had fucked up teeth, but
did he not take care of them?
I cannot tell. The story he told me that is he used to be a security guard, and he had someone punch him in the face, and that just never recovered from that point. But
yeah, no, no. If you would have said he got hit with a 2x4, okay. No, you can't. No, you can't have permanent damage by getting punched in the mouth.
Well, I once in primary school, I was running because the bell went and we had to go to our lineup spots, and I tripped over and my face went right into the basketball pole.
Okay, that's a fucking apples and asparaguses,
and like it bruised my gum. But I feel like it pushed my teeth back.
Well, that's good, because maybe you were going to have buck teeth, and now you don't.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Now I have my teeth. But anyway, what's your final thought for the movie?
Well, I think it is an important film for the horror genre. I think it's an important film for French cinema, and I think it's very well done and well written, and it helped set a template for these kinds of movies, and for the new French Extremity. I think it brought the new French Extremity subgenre to new heights, and I appreciate the bleakness of it. I definitely like a movie that doesn't have a happy ending, but I also like a movie that has a happy end, has an unhappy ending that's so fucked up that it resonates and it leaves you with an impression. And I think that this movie does all of that. So, and yes, I definitely think that it is an important film for any fan of the horror genre to see, because of all of these reasons, and to go outside your comfort zone a little bit if you're a fan of the genre, but you are into more mainstream cinema. So, and
yeah,
I wish I had somebody like me to tell me these kinds of things. Yes, because as I said before, when I was growing up, I was very stubborn and snobby about. I loved horror, but I really didn't embrace foreign cinema. So, and there are a lot of years where I could have been able to enjoy French and Italian and Japanese, German. I don't know, not so much, because they're a little they're a little crazy over there. They're a little crazy. Case in point, necromantic. So, or that might be Swedish. Isn't that? I think that's Swedish.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe it is German. I don't know. It's something. So yeah,
It's out there. Okay.
it's out there. It's crazy.
Well, I guess in your saying that, I must express my thanks for having access to SBS when I was young, because that had a lot of good foreign horror movies.
What's that?
It's one of the free-to-air channels here. They show a lot of foreign. It's mainly foreign.
And they played foreign horror.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Well, that's good. But unfortunately for you, foreign horror means American too. Same time.
Okay.
And a lot of bad horror movies are made right here in the good old US of A. Okay, well, that is it for Inside and for the Christmas season and for 2021.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to say thank you to everybody for listening. I want to say thank you to Tony for joining me and being a big part of the Blind Rage podcast for 2021. You've definitely made the show a
Are you
lot
calling
more
me
fun
morbidly
to do.
obese?
Yes.
No, thank you for
Your big-
having me. It's been lovely.
Your big hairy ass has been. No, you ruined the moment, so I'm ruined it worse.
Fuck the sentimentality.
No, you've made recording the show a lot more fun, and I think, in my personal opinion, a lot better. You and James.
Oh, thank you.
And Tim and Jed and everybody who's helped or contributed. So yes, so thank you for that, and hope there will be a lot more for 2022. So happy New Year to everybody, and as always, unpleasant dreams.